Let me ask you something. Have you ever stood in your kitchen, holding a jar of sourdough starter, wondering if the thing inside is alive or already dead? If you've baked sourdough for more than a week, you've had that moment. And if you're anything like most home bakers, that moment is the reason you almost quit. I'm Henry Hunter, and I'm going to fix that for you today. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly what your starter needs, how to read what it's telling you, and how to stop worrying about it. Stick with me. Here's something I've learned watching thousands of people try sourdough. They don't quit because the bread is hard. They quit because the starter feels unpredictable. Confusion, anxiety, the feeling that you're doing something wrong, but you don't know what. The fix is simple. You just have to understand what your starter actually needs. That's the whole game. And once you understand it, all that anxiety just goes away. So let me strip away all the magic and tradition for a second and tell you what a sourdough starter really is. It's a jar of flour and water. And inside that jar are two tiny organisms doing all the work. Wild yeast, which eats the sugars in the flour and produces carbon dioxide gas. That gas is what makes your bread rise. And lactic acid bacteria, which produces the acids that give sourdough its tangy flavor. Two organisms, one little ecosystem. When they're balanced, your starter behaves predictably. And here's the thing most people don't realize. Your starter is built to survive. You almost have to try to kill it. Now, 90% of starter problems come down to three things. Not 15, 3. The first is temperature. Your starter is happiest between 74 and 78 degrees. Cooler than that, and it slows down. Warmer than that, and the bacteria starts winning, which is why summer starters can smell sharp and vinegary. Don't worry about temperature unless your kitchen is really cold or really hot. Just know it matters. The second is your feeding ratio. That's just the proportion of starter to fresh flour and water. A 1:1:1 ratio means equal parts of all three. A 1:5:5 ratio means 5 times more flour and water than starter. The ratio controls how fast your starter peaks. We'll come back to this. The third is time. Every fed starter follows the same arc. It rises, it peaks, it falls. Catching the peak is the secret, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. This curve right here is the most important thing in this entire video, so pay attention. After you feed your starter, it goes on a predictable journey. It starts smooth and flat. Then it begins bubbling and growing. Then it reaches the sweet spot, which is where you want to use it. Tripled in volume, a nice domed surface, bubbles all across the top. That's the moment your starter is at maximum strength. That's when it can lift a loaf of bread. Wait too long, and it falls. The bubbles collapse. Eventually, you see hooch on top, which is just a clear liquid telling you the starter is hungry. The whole game is catching that peak. At about 75 degrees with a normal feeding, peak happens 5 to 7 hours after you feed. Watch it for a weekend. Mark the times. Once you know your starter's rhythm, you'll never bake with a weak starter again. Your starter is constantly talking to you. Most people just don't speak the language yet. So let me teach you the 4 signs to look for. First, the rise. Your starter should at least double in volume after a feeding. Triple is even better. Use a straight-sided jar and put a rubber band around it at the feeding line. That one trick will change your entire baking life. Second, the bubbles. Fine bubbles spread throughout means the fermentation is working. Big holes near the top means you missed peak. Smooth and flat means it's either not awake yet or not strong enough yet. Third, the texture. A healthy, mature starter has body. It holds its shape on a spoon. If it's gone runny and thin, it's either past peak or very tired. And fourth, the hooch. That clear gray liquid that sometimes sits on top, that's not death. That's hunger. Pour it off or stir it in, then feed your starter. You're fine. Now let's talk about smell, because this is where beginners panic the most. So listen carefully. A healthy starter can smell like a lot of different things: fresh bread dough, yogurt, overripe fruit, beer, even slightly like nail polish remover. All of that is normal. All of that is just fermentation at different stages. What's not normal is mildew, feet, or rotting garbage. That's the warning. That tells you something unwanted has moved into the jar. So here's the rule. If it smells funky but in a fermented way, you're fine. Just feed it. If it smells like something died in there, that's different, and we'll handle that in a minute. Okay, let's talk about feeding ratios, because this is where most guides lose people. They throw a chart at you and say good luck. I'm going to make it simple. You only have to ask one question. When do I want to bake? If you want to bake in 4 to 6 hours, feed your starter at 1 to 1 to 1. Equal parts everything. Fast and active. This is also what I use to revive a tired starter. If you want to bake 8 to 10 hours from now, feed at 1 to 3 to 3. 20 grams of starter, 60 grams of flour, 60 grams of water. This is your everyday ratio, the one I use most. If you want to set up a feeding tonight and bake in the morning, feed at 1 to 5 to 5. More food means a slower climb. You can mix it up at 10 o'clock at night, go to bed, and have a perfectly ripe starter waiting for you with your coffee. The ratio is just a tool. You use different ones for different jobs. You're not stuck with one for life. Now here's the setting that nobody tells beginners until they're already burned out from daily feedings. There are 2 ways to keep a starter, and you get to pick. Option 1. The counter life. You keep your starter on the counter. You feed it once or twice a day. This is great if you bake several times a week. That's what my 11-year-old starter Vitali does most of the time, because I bake a lot. Option 2. The fridge. And this one might save your sanity. You feed your starter a big meal at 1 to 5 to 5, let it sit out for an hour or 2, then put it in the fridge with the lid loosely on. It goes dormant. You can leave it there for 1 to 2 weeks before its next feeding. When you want to bake, pull it out, warm it up, feed it, and you're back in business. This is how home bakers with day jobs actually live. The fridge is your friend. If you only bake on weekends, the fridge isn't a compromise. It's the right answer. Let's say your starter has been neglected. Maybe it sat in the fridge too long. Maybe a friend gave you one and it's sluggish. Here's exactly how to bring it back. Day 1. Stir off any liquid on top. Take just 10 grams of starter. Feed it 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water. Leave it on the counter for 12 hours. Day 2. Take 10 grams from yesterday's feeding. Feed it the same way. Repeat this every 12 hours. Day 3 through 5. Just keep going. Every 12 hours, the same feeding. Within 3 to 5 days, almost any starter that's still alive will come roaring back. And here's the rocket fuel tip. Add a tiny pinch of whole wheat or rye flour to every feeding for the first week. Whole grains have natural enzymes that turbocharge fermentation. It works. Now let me kill one of the biggest myths in sourdough, the float test. You've probably seen this. You drop a spoonful of starter in water and see if it floats. If it floats, supposedly it's ready to use. Most guides teach this. It's unreliable. All the float test really tells you is whether your starter has trapped enough gas to be less dense than water. Weak starters can float. Strong ones can sink, depending on how you stir them. Throw the cup of water away. Here's the test that actually works. Watch the jar. Mark the level after feeding. When your starter has doubled or tripled, looks domed on top, and has a network of bubbles across the surface, it's ready. Period. That's the only test that matters. 3 situations make new bakers think they've ruined everything. Let's go through them quickly. Your starter isn't rising. The cause is almost always one of 4 things. It's too young, less than 3 weeks old, or your kitchen is too cold, or it's hungry, or you're using bleached flour. The fix? Check temperature first. Feed more often. Switch to unbleached. And be patient. Some starters take a full month to wake up. Your starter smells terrible. If it smells like vinegar or nail polish remover, that means it's past peak, hungry, or warm. That's normal. Feed it and move on. The only smell that's a real problem is rotting garbage. Different story. Your starter has mold. Pink, orange, green, or fuzzy black growth means contamination. Throw the whole thing out. Don't try to scrape it off and save the rest. It's not a tragedy. You'll build a new one smarter and faster next time. Let me clear out some bad information that gets repeated everywhere on the internet. You don't need an ancient heirloom starter to make great bread. A 6-week-old starter is just as strong as my 11-year-old one. Strength matters. Age doesn't. You don't need bottled water. Once your starter is established, tap water is completely fine. You don't need a special jar. Any clean glass jar with room to triple in size works. And no, you can't ruin everything by skipping a feeding. A mature starter will survive missed feedings, especially if it's in the fridge. Stop worrying about the small stuff. So here's everything we've covered in one playbook you can stick on your fridge. If your starter lives on the counter, feed it at 1 to 3 to 3 every 12 to 24 hours. On baking day, feed at 1 to 1 to 1, 4 to 6 hours before you mix dough, or 1 to 3 to 3, 8 to 10 hours before. If your starter lives in the fridge, feed it at 1 to 5 to 5. Let it sit out for an hour or two, then refrigerate. Repeat every 1 to 2 weeks. And the golden rules. Use a rubber band on your jar. Wait for the triple rise. And don't panic unless you actually see mold. That's the whole system. That's everything. Here's what I want you to take away more than anything else. My starter is 11 years old. Her name is Vitali. She survived moves, power outages, and weeks in the fridge without feeding. She is not fragile. She's not magic. She's flour, water, and time. Yours wants to live too. Your only job is to feed it, watch it, and notice when it's telling you something. That's a skill. And you build it the same way you build any other skill in life, by showing up. If you're brand new to sourdough, you're going to be just fine. If you've had a rough week with your starter, I promise you, it's fixable. Come find us inside Crust and Crumb Academy on School. There are 800 bakers in there right now, all somewhere on the same path you're on. The full Sourdough Fundamentals module is waiting, and so is our free recipe pantry, with every recipe I bake at home. The link is in the description. Perfection is not required. Progress is. See you in the kitchen.